I was thinking about all these kind of weird experiences that we had as kids that children, your kids, will never experience.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this is kind of where this all came from. I was thinking about how when you would, back in the olden days, when you would call your friend on the landline, like after school or something.
Yes.
And you always had, like, it was like a 1 in 4 chance, or no, 3 out of 4 chance, let's say, that the person who answered the phone was going to be his mom or dad. or sibling. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to be like, hi, is Alex home? And then sometimes you'd have the parent who'd be like, yeah, hold on a second. And then it just, otherwise they'd say, can I say who's calling? Mm-hmm. And then you'd have to say, it's Brendan. And then they'd be like, oh, hey, Brendan, how's it going? How's your mom? And I'm like, I just want to talk to Alex, please.
Yes. Yeah, I know he's got this new video game, and I got the same thing too, and I'm stuck at this part, so maybe he might know what to do at this part. It's like you're calling the Nintendo tip line.
Well, it is funny how, like, just like even like leaving messages on an answering machine.
Yeah,
I think
I feel like we have now like voicemail on our phones now, like our smartphones. You know, they call them that. I sound very old like saying that, but whenever I get the voicemails or somebody's voicemail, I don't even bother leaving a message.
Oh yeah,
I'm just like, hey, it'll pop up on their phone saying somebody tried to call you.
The only reason I would ever leave a voicemail is if I have information that I can express, which means you don't have to call me back. So if you call me and you were like, you texted me and said, hey, do you know what I'm supposed to bring to the party? Do we need to bring anything? And then I call you back and you're busy. I leave a message just saying, hey, Alex, you can bring potato salad if you want, or potato chips, but like, don't feel like you have to, but any kind of side dish would be fine. And I'd leave that voicemail. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or I would text you that information.
That's true. Yeah. Which is even quicker way of handling the voicemail itself. And I'll be like, oh, yes, Brendan said to do this. Veggie platter.
You know what drives me nuts? What? And I don't think you do this.
Okay,
you don't do this. You don't do this. People who like text and say, hey, can you call me? Or like, can I call you out of nowhere? And it's like, what do you tell me why? Like, tell me why you want to call.
Because you're already setting them up for like, this needs to be said in words instead of via text.
Yeah, and it's like, does it really need to be said via text, or could you have, like, does it really need to be a phone call? And what is this? What are you really trying to get?
My mom does that.
Yeah, but it's like, why? Why doesn't she want to like just convey the information right away?
She thinks it's like important stuff that has to be said from person to person about stuff, and then sometimes it's like, oh, so and so died. I'm like, I don't know this person. Like, it's somebody that like she might have known or something. It's just like, I have to tell you something's happening, and it's like something even some event that's happening in like one of our extended family cousins' life or something. I'm like, you could have just texted me, or next time I just randomly call, you could have brought that up. It doesn't have to happen right now.
I'm picturing the moment in Frasier when Martin comes out as like, Frasier, I have bad news. Your god uncle died. And Frasier's like, there's no such thing as a god uncle. It's like, yes, it is. It's your godfather's brother. And he's like, that's nobody.
Hey, Frasier. Hi, Dad. Look, I got some bad news. I guess there isn't a good way to tell you something like this. Your god uncle died.
My god uncle? There's no such thing as a god uncle.
Well, speaking of phones and landlines, also one thing that they will never have to do with, which I had it back in college. I don't know if you did. It was a prepaid phone card.
Oh, I never had that. I always thought that was like a Japanese thing.
Oh, well, no.
A phone card?
Yeah, like a prepaid phone card.
How did you use
Like
that?
you pay for minutes. Basically, it's like, so you don't have, so it was almost like a gift card for utilizing a phone. So when you have to call long distance, like from college, and you didn't want to get a bill, you could just get the phone card. So what I would do is that I would use the phone card, call my parents and be like, hey, give me a call back, and then hang up, and then they would call me. So then I wouldn't have to be charged, and they would just be doing that because they have, MCI or Sprint or AT&T. God, MCI. I don't think we had MCI. I think it was AT&T. I think they always had.
It is weird to consider how, by and large, long distance isn't a thing anymore.
Correct.
And even calling other countries is potentially not a thing anymore. That's just kind of nuts. I remember it was like all of those jokes of, is that a long distance call? That's all dead now in cinema.
Yeah.
So, okay, you don't have a landline, do you?
Our house, no, it was not built with a landline. I believe there was
with a landline.
Yeah, my parents' house was built in, their current house was built in 2004, and there was a landline, and they had a phone. And then once everybody got cell phones, they were just like, if anybody wants to call it, there you go. If anybody wants to call us, they can just call our phone, our cell phones. I believe I heard something. Illinois had passed a law some years back that said any new built homes beginning at a certain date are no longer required to have landlines.
That's so weird to me.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason why. So how are you going to handle? I guess that. Because okay, your oldest was just finished second grade. I was definitely getting phone calls in second grade. Maybe not often, but I would get a phone call from like my friend being like, I know this is something else that we could maybe get into, but sleepovers. Like I get a call being like, hey, do you want to come sleep over? Or, that kind of thing. So like how do you handle getting calls for your kids when they don't have a phone? They have to call your phone or your wife's phone?
I don't think kids call each other anymore.
Well, that's
I think they
add it to
probably
the list
do.
of things kids will never experience.
I would say if they do call each other, they probably do like a FaceTime thing on their tablets, or they probably their
Discord.
It's just texting. Snapchat, I heard, is supposedly is going back into popularity or something like that.
Yeah.
They probably have like Instagram messaging, like the instant message or whatever. And this is going to be older kids, but as far as I know, I think kids my son's age and older, I think they have their own system of doing that. It's not like a direct calling people like it was for us, because that technology didn't exist back then.
But your son doesn't engage in this behavior, does he?
No, I don't think anybody his age in his like class at school does that. I know our niece, she's starting high school in the fall, and she has a phone. She's got an iPhone, but my sister-in-law keeps it pretty well locked down. I think there's she can only use it for like periods of time and certain types of apps and stuff like that. So she still has that locked down. I don't know if she calls people or talks to people. I think with, like I was saying, the advent with like text messaging and FaceTime, I think a lot of the actual talking portion of one person to another as means of communication over long distances is kind of passé, because even, what you and I do, like we started doing podcasting well over 20 years ago, and it was just audio. And now podcasts are basically, yeah, you can listen to them, but they almost have this requirement of having video footage of the people discussing things.
Sure, like on YouTube. And I guess you're right, though. I guess that there are even the video, the podcasts that are on, let's say, Spotify or iTunes, they still, which iTunes isn't even a thing, the video version is on
Speaking
YouTube
of something kids will never experience, iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes. Well, that's the other thing that I thought was
iPods.
Funny. Back in the day, they like with iTunes, the idea was that you were going to buy MP3s and they would be your MP3s and they would be DMA or DCA. What's it called? DRM. Thank you. DRM free. And now we've segued into sort of like movies, Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, and where you're not buying anything. You're just like streaming music. So kids don't know what it's like to buy a CD and make a mixtape or make a mix CD.
Yeah.
And take that to the car and put that, and where you're ripping songs and making a whole, you know what I mean? And I find that, I don't know, it's just kind of, Zoomers don't even want, I'm a weirdo who actually, I know you don't really have this either, but I have MP3s. I have everything. I don't use any streaming services basically for anything.
I've still got my CDs in the garage. But the problem with that is that I don't have any means to actually play the CDs. So and that's kind of the problem, I think, with a lot of, like we were saying about the Zoomers have this affinity or this kind of artificial affinity for stuff that's older technology. And the problem with that is that you have to be able to have both components, like the media to play and the means to play that media. And it's the same that they're kind of experiencing now with like video games, where they're like, oh, I want to play old Sega and Nintendo and Game Boy and stuff like that. And it's like, well, hopefully somebody still kept those systems in their attic or basement, and fingers crossed that there's no moisture that got into the contacts for the game cartridges, or the consoles themselves still operate and stuff. So, unfortunately, it's kind of something like physical media is one thing that many of them.
But I feel like physical media is coming back until
it is.
But then hilariously, Sony just announced that they're getting rid of physical releases of their games.
Yeah.
In the same
and jacking
era,
up the price of the systems.
In the same era that people are now getting more and more, young people are getting more and more interested in actually buying physical copies of their entertainment.
Yeah.
And you just had a multi-day internet outage,
right,
where you guys went to DVDs and local entertainment, and it's like, come on, we're going in the companies are going in the wrong direction. Everyone wants their shit again.
Along with that, since you mentioned it with the MP3s, I did make Erica years ago a mix CD, and it was me basically sitting down on my Sony Vaio laptop and extracting the files from the CDs, putting them in the playlist and burning it on CD. And that is something that modern laptops and desktop computers don't really even do anymore. It's like you have to get the physical disk drives, you have to get the software. They don't even sell them in stores, and back then they were just like, oh, here this compact comes with it, this gateway comes with it, please feel free. And then I feel like the whole Napster thing kind of started killing that whole thing off, because there was this I kind of feel like that, like where it's like you could extract. I think it was the thing that like the commoners realized you can just extract the actual audio files off a CD and just put them on different things. So I think,
but that was legal.
Yeah, but I mean,
wait, hold on a second. You're jumping way ahead. People were ripping MP3s up till like 2015, 2010, let's say, up until Spotify.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's my tinfoil thing.
I'm just saying that they didn't. MP3s were a thing long into the 2000s. I mean, well, I'm just saying. I know, but how long optical drives were around? It wasn't like they were. But do you think that they phased it out because of piracy?
I think there was something to do with that.
Except that it's just as easy it's even easier to rip music off of Spotify than having to buy a disc.
Do I look like somebody who knows how to do that?
But I'm telling
I'll go the harder route with the optical disc.
This is what I'm getting at, is that everything, like, piracy can't be the answer to this because everything is still ripped. Everything is still available to download if you are that type of person who would know how to do that or have put forth any effort. Every movie, every sound.
I would text you and be like, "Hey, give me a call. I have a question."
Yeah, right. I mean, your wife basically did. Okay, here's a little pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys have a Honda Odyssey, which is a minivan. Mm-hmm. I have a Honda Civic, where both of our vehicles are from around 2019, 2020-ish era of those cars. Your entertainment system in your minivan is virtually identical to the one in my car. The UI, everything. Mm-hmm. When you guys got that, I was sitting in the back seat with your kids, and I was like, you guys should like download, because you guys were trying to play songs streaming over your phone or some shit. And I was like, you guys should put MP3s on a thumb drive, and then you can just plug it in. And you guys looked at me and were like, shut up, Brendan, idiot. You. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll just stay here and just play with the kids like I deserve. Fast forward like 6 months later, I get a text from Erica being like, hey, do you know how to rip music off of YouTube? Because we want to put a bunch of MP3s. My sister told me we could put them on a thumb drive and plug it in. Yeah. And I was like...
Well, it was so funny because we didn't... I mean, you told us that, but I don't think...
Believe me. It didn't sink in.
Yeah, it didn't sink in. But at the same time, it's not... I feel like it's something that Honda doesn't really divulge to people. Or like really advertises it.
I guess, I guess this is just the difference. I tried that on my Focus just to see if it would work, and it did. And so then I was like, oh, it's going to work on the Honda too, and it did. So I was like, it plays whatever media is on there. Sort of like your television, putting in a thumb drive into the television, it'll do everything too. Anyway, I'm just like giving you guys shit, but I was but the point is that you guys wanted MP3 suddenly.
Right. Yeah.
So
we can
it worked. Yeah. It's good. So have
well, one thing,
your music, people.
Yeah, well, since on the topic of music and cars, basically having that what is it? The CD player to cassette tape converter for cars. That's something that won't be able to do.
It was so funny because there was a point where people the tape decks went away, and people were playing MP3 players like a iPod. They wanted to go iPod to their car stereos. Well, they didn't have tape decks anymore, so they were doing these shitty like RF transmitters that you would plug in, and it would beam the music and it was like delayed and lame. I just remember because my original black Focus still had a tape deck in it. And wow. I could plug in my iPod and it sounded great. It was awesome. But then my friends who had nicer, newer cars couldn't do it, and I was like, I might not have electric locks or a power windows. But
that thing was very manual. That thing was way newer than my Civic was, and I was still like, Jesus Christ, this thing is old as shit.
It was because I got, the cheapest. It was the cheapest version of that car. No power, no luxuries whatsoever.
Which was crazy because even at that time, you would think that like the cost, the cost of producing like just power windows or anything would just be like, might as well just scrap like the manual.
But you have to remember, this was like 2001.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
It feels like it wasn't that long ago.
So it was 1989, and yeah.
I was looking at footage of a Cubs game, not from 2007, and I was like, why does this footage look like it was shot like 80 years ago?
80 years ago, yeah.
And I was like, oh, it was shot 19 years ago, and we didn't have HD video 19 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah.
The pitch to Aramis. There's a drive. Deep left center. Cubs win. They win it. Ramirez, 2-run shot. Oh, baby.
Oh, which speaking of, we for the car for like the boys, we have portable DVD players. So that's kind of something where it's like, okay, we have physical media and little headphones and stuff like that.
The funny thing, though, is I would say that means the kids will never know the reality of how boring a road trip is supposed to be.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
But once they grow out of those child kids movies, then it's like, okay, you're going to have to read a book or stare out the window or play on your Switch.
So I've seen it say they're just going to watch some other movie. They don't have to do anything. I remember when I was a kid, and this was when I was a teenager, my version of watching like a portable DVD player was I had a video camera. I had a Sony Digital 8 video camera. And I discovered that there was certain anime that didn't have Macrovision copy protection on it. So I could transfer the video from my VCR to a camcorder tape. And then I could watch that tape back on the little LED screen that came out. So I would sit in the back seat, and it like lasted like maybe an hour and a half was how much battery I had.
Okay, that's still pretty good. You can watch Ninja Scroll.
I could watch Ninja Scroll. So that was my version of that. And then when that died, I mean, these were 8-hour road trips, not 16-hour road trips. When that died, then it was like, okay, I have my CDs or cassette tapes, books and comics, maybe a magazine that I pick up at the gas station,
Yeah.
And then that was kind of...
Did you have a Game Boy?
Yeah, that Game Boy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how Game Boys weren't backlit, and so you had that stupid thing that you stick on the front to light it up.
Yeah. Once if you're still in the car and like the sun goes down, you're SOL.
It's so
unless you had like a flashlight and you're like,
it's so archaic. Game Boy light screen attachment, screen light accessory. It was so archaic and sad. Like this one just is more like the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
These ones were more, but this is it. The Light Boy.
The Light Boy.
That was the one that was much more like what is it magnify? You had a magnifying glass and a light bulb.
My brother had this thing that kind of it had a magnifier and it had a light thing, and then you basically put this thing over it, and it had light, magnification, these two speakers like for surround sound that would open up, and then it had it would also make bigger A and B buttons along with changing the D-pad into like a joystick type of thing. Yeah, that thing right there. That's what he had. Yeah, that thing. Look at that.
It's like a transformer. What the Jeez.
And it's like, look, I understand the screen's not that big, but when you slap that shit on there, you're just like, this has gotten like, it feels even smaller regardless of the magnification.
See, I feel like your brother was compensating for something with this.
Well, he also had the Game Boy camera.
Oh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
So yeah, that was fun. But the problem is like that thing sucked up AA batteries like there's no tomorrow. And it was just like
it's still better than the Game Gear though.
That's true. Although the Game Gear did have color and it did have the backlight. So
well, yeah, but the backlight would eat 6 AA batteries in 10 minutes.
That's a trade-off. It's like, yeah, Nintendo's always they always got guff for having, being behind the times with the technology as opposed to everybody else. But at the end of the day, like, yeah. I mean, did the Game Gear have this amazing piece of Alienware technology that was on there?
The Game Boy's like, please just let me die.
It's like that one part about was it that one video where James Rolfe talks about how the Sega Genesis was like the 32X CD and it had all this shit. It's just yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But you mentioned also that you were reading magazines, and that's something I feel like kids do not do anymore, apart from very, very few, like a handful of things. I remember when I was a kid, I feel like highlights was a bigger thing back then. I used to read Disney Adventures.
Disney Adventures for sure.
Yeah.
But highlights to me was more of like an educational magazine.
Right.
Or at the doctor's office.
Yeah. But I mean, they would still have that. But then they had like, was it National Geographic for Kids? Sometimes some of the sports leagues, like I think the NBA had like an NBA Kids magazine maybe. Disney Adventures was what I always enjoyed reading. Because I'm like, ooh, what's this interesting interview with, Jason Priestley going to be about? And it's like, oh, this one's got Rick Moranis on the cover, and there's John Goodman. I'm like, all these adult actors are in this. But it was also like stories and comics and interesting things. Yeah, that's something I don't think kids really do anymore. Although fun fact,
tablets instead.
Yeah, that's true. So they have like, I think like Kindles and reading things. One magazine that I did enjoy as a kid was ZooBooks, which is funny too because I just recently signed up for ZooBooks, so he should be getting some soon in the next month or so. But I think they've been bought over by like some company called Ranger Rick or something like that. But yeah, just in general, like magazines are kind of more geared towards kids, like older ones that were like Teen Beat and stuff like that.
Tiger Beat. That's the joke I was going to make, was that when I was an 8-year-old boy, I was in the back seat of my mom's car reading Tiger Beat. Looking at Justin Taylor Thomas photo.
Yes, I was about to say, yeah. Or also, what's the other one? Video game magazines was something that I enjoyed reading as a kid.
Absolutely.
GamePro and
Game Fan,
EGM, PC Gamer back in the day.
Yep. What was the What was the magazine that was published by GameStop? Remember that GameStop had its own magazine?
Did they buy EGM?
No, it wasn't EGM. Well, I don't know about that, but what's going on?
Just GamePro?
No. GameStop's magazine.
Nintendo Power.
Game Informer.
Okay. Yeah. Xbox had its own. PlayStation had its own magazine.
Yeah, OXM, official Xbox magazine.
Yeah. Are they going to bring that back? We've changed the name. Let's bring back the magazine.
But see, that's my point, is that there's no magazines at all anymore.
Right.
Although you'll be happy to know, maybe, that Highlights is still going. $48.57 for a 1-year subscription, less than $3 an issue. So,
can you find those on
magazine
at Barnes
stands?
& Noble?
I haven't been to a bookstore in a very long time.
Okay,
so I can't.
Probably not.
Oh man, your kids will never know what it's like sitting at a Borders on a Friday night, drinking coffee and looking at photography books. That's just my experience.
Borders. Although the problem is, if I were to take them into a Barnes & Noble now, it's like, okay, they've got, Lego. They've got toys. They have like Legos and Funko Pops and Gundam models and D&D stuff. And
one thing
is this what you sell? Is this what makes the money?
One thing that I am proud of you for is that your kids are experiencing the library, which is something that I think a lot of modern children don't do either, because they can just get it online, or mom and dad aren't necessarily taking the kids to go pick out books and movies at the library.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, that's. I always enjoyed. When I was a kid and we were living in Villa Park, I would always go to like the library there because I really liked the library. Like they had 2 floors, and the second floor was all kids, like all kids. It wasn't like a little section. It's a full floor with tons of square footage and such like that. And I read some really fun books and good memories and stuff.
Did you guys have the bookmobile in Villa Park? which was like a big.
If we
bus.
did, I never really did anything with a bookmobile.
Oh, we had
Sorry.
the book. The bookmobile would come to my grade school. Like,
Okay.
especially I think maybe like towards like in the spring and fall, and then would disappear during the winter. But like you could go.
Go into hibernation.
Oh, bad boy, biting me.
What you gonna do?
Now you can go away.
We did have the Scholastic Book Fair that they would come and roll in the giant like gray things and go open it up. It was like an Iron Maiden of amazing fictional stories.
Does that still exist? It has to.
They've got that at my kid's school, but
they do.
Yeah, it's kind of it's just in the library, and it's like, oh, here are the books that are part of the book fair. It's I don't feel like it used to be. It is what it used to be.
They don't have the Iron Maidens anymore?
No, they don't have that, but they do have like the little pencil toppers and the special little pencils and pens that they can sell. And
no, okay, but they don't have. They don't sell books. How do
they do sell books? Yeah, but
well,
it's not in the giant.
How do they display it then?
They have a bunch of tables that they just set up.
Oh, that's lame. I want to do. Let's schedule a book fair for your house.
Just my house.
Let's see,
Where do we set up on the garage?
Alec. Yeah.
If you guys get thirsty, you've got some beers in there. They're lukewarm, but sorry. Yeah. So let's see. I know this has been talked to death, and we always do, but Blockbuster, that's kind of going back to like physical media, doing the whole Blockbuster.
We just talked about Blockbuster.
Right. We just talked about it.
So video rentals.
Hanging out at the mall.
Hanging out at the mall. Did you hang out at the mall?
You're
like, I'm aware of other people, other teenagers hang out at the mall.
Like a handful of times. I think my brother did that a lot more.
Yeah, same with me. I always had a good time when I did it. I was just like, just so pathetic. I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you guys. I want to hang out with my mom. It's like,
there's a new Cher movie coming out.
Yeah, well, my mom was always the one who was like, I think it was codependent. I had a single mother, so it was like, mom wants to go pick up stuff at Marshall Fields, and she needs a new dress for work or whatever.
Brendan, there's a new Shirley MacLaine movie opening up. Let's go see it this Friday.
She dragged me to see
Cher.
My best friend's wedding and Cher.
Opa. That's not a bad movie. All right. I mean, if you have to be dragged to a movie, I mean, it's not.
I was sitting there being like, I don't want to see this movie. This movie's for girls. And she's like, it's not for girls. It has the woman from Speed in it. And then the very first shot of that movie is a giant pink screen. Isn't it Sandra Bullock in that film?
No.
It's the other woman. It's the other one with the giant mouth. Not Julianne Moore. Who's the
Big Fat Greek Wedding?
No, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, My Best Friend Wedding. Yeah, that is Julia Roberts. I was thinking My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That explains why you yelled Opa at me. I thought that was weird.
Oh, sorry.
I said My Best Friend's Wedding, and you went Opa, and I was like, I'm just gonna ignore that. Let's just move past it.
Wishing and hoping and thinking and praying, planning and dreaming each night of his child that won't get you into his arms.
She's probably been in Netflix movies. She was in Birdcage or whatever it was called. Birdman, Bird Movie, Bird Game.
Was the Birdcage? I don't remember.
No.
Birdman,
Birdwalk. What's it called?
Harvey Birdman?
Netflix Bird Movie. Sandra Bullock.
Kids will never have to use Google.
Bird Box.
Bird Box?
Remember it was where there were invisible monsters? It was a stupid movie.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it.
People were like, oh, it's like the little kids.
Oh, she was blind or something?
No, she wasn't blind. She had to cover her eyes, though. Because the monsters would come get you if you saw them. See?
That's kind of the opposite of the angels in Doctor Who.
It's like I think that the term was coined as mommy core for these movies. It was something like monster movies starring women on Netflix. Or something. I don't remember. I never saw this movie. I just knew of it. So, but yeah, like, just sorry to go back to the mall thing.
Yeah,
just being around malls in general, and all the stores in the malls, and all of the things, the food in the malls, all of that stuff, I feel like has gone away.
Yeah, the Auntie Anne's, the Cinnabon, the Sbarro's, the
Sbarro's,
the Great Potato Factory or whatever.
Great Potato Company.
Great Potato Company. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Great
Baskin Robbins.
The
mall ones were better than the standalones.
Great Steak. Do you remember Great Steak? That was the
Great Steak
cheesesteak company.
Okay. Were they the same company on the potatoes?
Let's find out. Great.
I also remember the Chinese restaurant that would always give you like the samples of the teriyaki chicken on the toothpick.
Yes, there's those. And then it was like you get like the Panda Express, but then there's the Panda Express knockoffs. Then there was like the Cajun food, but it was
always a Cajun place,
and it was all just the same
evolved food.
They were all connected. It was like the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Cajun place were all one giant.
They created a food court syndicate.
Yeah, exactly. But they pretended like there were walls between them, and then you notice that one person would, like, the manager just kept walking across every single one of the restaurants.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's Great Steak and Potato Company.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of, because they did have fries.
Okay. I always loved the like the teriyaki like the guy would walk around with like the tray of the teriyaki chicken samples on the toothpicks, and he'd be like, "Oh, this is really good. Is this like authentic Chinese from your homeland?" And he'd go look at you and be like, "Okay." No,
I was going to say he'd be like,
no, understand English.
He'd be like, "I'm Mexican." Stop asking me questions.
So are you Chinese or Japanese? The Great Steak. Oh, look at that cheese sauce.
So great. So I think they dropped the potato part because this is Great
potatoes.
Steak and Potato.
Ooh, but 2.5 stars on Yelp.
But but the potato part was the French fries, not baked potatoes.
Oh, okay.
So what was the baked potato company in Mall Baked Potato Company food court?
Great Steak and Potato. Maybe that was Great Steak. Oh, it's in Orland Park. Did you guys have one of those baked potato shops in your mall?
Cheesesteak sandwich, baked potatoes, and fries. So maybe
I guess they did have both. Yeah. I was one of those weird people that actually get the baked potato from Wendy's.
I used to do that during Lent as a child. I would get the cheese and broccoli baked potato, or just a plain baked potato.
Oh, whoa! Talk about this. This guy is quite the.
Are you talking about me?
Disciple in the desert. Yeah, you're just like it's like cheese and broccoli is far too sinful for my good pure heart. As I eat my potato in my as a hermit out here in my desert
just
cave.
the plain potato with salt and pepper on it.
Salt and pepper, that is sin. Get behind me, Satan. Do not tempt me with seasoning.
That's too much.
You don't even bake your potatoes. You just eat them raw straight off the ground.
That's the inner Irishman in me. So what else about malls? Malls were, I mean, that was like buying CD singles, because you couldn't afford the actual full album for $15, but for like $5 you could get a single with 2 songs and an instrumental.
Yeah,
it's like
some filler. Well, actually, like going to like Sam Goody or Coconuts or Suncoast, which
Suncoast
was all physical media.
Suncoast was just my mecca as a. I spent so much time there. It was one of those places where eventually I'd be there enough that the employees would recognize me.
Kind of like Bar on Buena.
Like
But for a 14-year-old version of you.
I mean, that's where I found out about Evangelion, because the employee was like, hey, you should watch this show. And I was like, I want to watch the subtitle one. And he was like, all right, kid. I thought you were cool. But he was because he was telling me, he was like, there's a place in Arlington Heights that has the bootlegs that so you can see all of the show and not just what ADV's released. And I was like, I don't know, that sounds illegal.
Oh, I better ask my mom about that first.
Better ask my mom. Mom, can you take me to the bootleg place?
I thought we were going to go and see Big Fat Greek Wedding.
People may or may not understand that reference, because I don't know if the whole Julia Roberts conversation made it into the edit.
Yeah. It will.
And the other thing, finally, as we kind of are wrapping this up, one thing that stands out to me based on children that I've spoken to, and it's also just kind of true of me. One thing that kids will never experience is their parents not really knowing where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because now kids are tracked. We've talked about this before. If they have a cell phone, they're tracked. If they have an Apple AirTag, they get tracked.
Yep.
I mean, I dated a girl who was, 39 years old or 38 or whatever, who had had a family tracking system on her phone. Her parents knew exactly where she was all the time.
We some kids we know, like, they've got, like, not necessarily
Implants?
iPhone or iWatch, like Apple Watches, but they've got like something that's like a smartwatch that they can do like text messaging or something like that. So they can stay in contact with their parents and stuff.
I mean,
modern day children get to experience what it's like to live in a totalitarian country.
Except that their parents are the fascist dictators of the country.
I mean, how text me every 30 minutes on the dot.
How long is it before they start putting subdermal injections that it's like for the cats, but you get it for the kid?
Yeah.
And just like, we're just going to put it in the back of your neck.
There are some adults that already did that thing to go and do like air pay for stuff. So eventually they'll do that with kids. Well, also, like, going back to like the thing about the landline versus smartphone now, where it's like your phone number when it was a landline was tied to a physical place. Now it's tied to you as an individual, and you can just, whatever phone you have at the time that you're currently using, that's what the phone number goes to. Which is kind of a crazy thing to think about that. I do know also back in the, I don't really know if anybody does this anymore, but I remember in the 90s when the internet was starting up and you can get email addresses. There were people that were creating email addresses for their kids. So there's probably a bunch of like 30 somethings now that have like an @AOL.com or @Yahoo email. And I'm like, oh God, how embarrassing.
Well, I mean, as when we were kids in that era, and @AOL.com was a very controversial domain. I remember that there were some services and like some boards where if you couldn't register for, like, I think Style Project, if you had an @AOL.com, it wouldn't let you use it because it was kind of like filtering out groups of people. And it all came from that AOL.com there was like a layer above the internet. So when people would log into AOL, and it was like all AOL services. And so there was a disconnect between AOL users and internet users, because there was AOL people who never really were using the internet. They were using AOL services that were on top of the regular internet. So then there's like some elitism involved in that too. But yeah, I just think it's kind of sad that like kids would disappear, all day long during the summer, and mom and dad would just be like, hey, be back for dinner. Yeah. And they didn't really know where their kids were all day.
Or what they were doing.
Now that's like never, ever, ever going to happen again.
Yeah.
With unless you have a certain different type of family lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, but I think society in general would probably society would have to kind of revert back to that, and I feel like it might happen in some types of communities, in some neighborhoods, in some areas and stuff, but I don't know if that's something that can kind of happen across the board like it once used to be.
To be clear, I was never that kid. I never was gone all day long.
Mommy, I'm going to go to Jimmy's house. We're going to go look at Evangelion.
I think it would be like, I'm gonna ride my bike over to the park. I'll be back for lunch. And I never really strayed from that. The only thing that would change is if I was going to like try to go buy cigarettes at the pizza shop, because the pizza store had where you put the money in and you pulled the tab, and it was in the vestibule between the front door. Then there was like the vestibule, and then the door to the actual restaurant. There were 2 doors. So if you were feeling lucky, it was like you go in real quick, in and out, get your pack of Marlboro Lights. And then everyone runs away and smokes them behind a tree. Like that was the extent of my scandalousness.
I used one of those one time in college at a bar, and I was like, "Whoa, they've got one of those. These are amazing! I finally get to use these." I put my money in, and I pulled the thing, and then I got my pack of Parliaments, and I was like, "Oh, that was kind of a letdown." It seemed cooler when I was a kid, but now as an adult, I was just like, "Eh."
Man, it's so here we go. Here's something. Not that your kids would ever do this because they're angels. Smoking inside.
Or smoking in general.
Yeah, they
Old
might still.
cigarettes.
They might. I feel like kids will still try to pull that off.
Mm-hmm. But do you think there would be cigarettes?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's enough I think that there's enough, especially. I mean, I don't know. I'm not 16 or 14, but I feel like it's still like scandalous enough that kids would be curious just by the virtue of it being taboo.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that, kids are really doing it professionally like we did. But I think that it'd still be like, I wonder what this is all about. But they're certainly not doing it in bars or restaurants right now.
No. They're
not going to know the pure euphoria of 10 glasses or 10 mugs, 10 cups of coffee,
10
and
cups of coffee,
half a pack of cigarettes at 2:00 in the morning. Like
with a small magnetic chess set.
Well,
yeah.
But,
or even in restaurants where like restaurants used to have, even in the 90s, they had segregated areas between the smokers and the non-smokers. And
that was up until like 2012.
Yeah. But it's still kind of across the board back in the 90s. But yeah, like you were saying, like we used to have like, what was it? Steak and Shake. And then we eventually got kicked out of Steak and Shake. And then we did IHOP for a while.
Yeah, did Steak and Shake go to just non-smoking completely? Is that what happened there?
I think they started doing it based upon the towns. When it was rolling out. I don't know if it was like chains or anything like that. But
it is crazy to think of that there was an era where you could smoke in McDonald's.
And they had the little metal ashtrays.
And like even Steak and Shake was weird because it's not like it was all one big room. There was nothing separating anyone. And so it's just weird to me to think of as someone who doesn't smoke anymore. I can smell a cigarette now, like half a block away. Like if I'm in my car with the windows closed, I'm like, oh, who's smoking? You know what I mean?
It's like Highlander when they sense each other.
But I mean, I just think of how horrible it was for people who weren't smoking.
Yeah.
Why would any non-smoker ever eat or drink inside of a Steak and Shake when there was a smoking section? And there's no way that it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And eventually I think it was also restaurants just in general were like, we have more people that don't smoke than do smoke. So we're just going to do that. And now with modern day restaurants, it's more like we don't have anybody eating in our restaurants anymore.
Right. The only thing I don't have any issue with no smoking in restaurants. I do think it's weird that they forced bars to stop having smoking. Especially since in some ways I feel like the market would have dictated it on its own. It didn't need a government rule to do it. And
Yeah.
you know, being the type of people we are, we're like, we don't need more laws.
Yeah. Because like Chicago, like they kicked everybody out onto the street, but then you had to be like 10 feet from the door.
10 feet from the door.
And then they move it more so over time?
Not that I'm aware of, but...
Okay.
Because it was always kind of... I'll put it this way. In my time of smoking in Chicago, I never got ticketed for being too close to the door. Maybe once or twice somebody came out and said, hey, you guys need to move further down or something, if we were at a restaurant or a bar or something. But never had a situation where it was like the cops came by and were like, too close to the door, here's $50.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time when it was like you had to be within 10 feet of the bar and you could smoke still inside, like literally the physical bar. Like if you were within 10 feet of that, you could still have a cigarette. And then you got to the point where you got kicked out into the outside. So there was like this gradual thing. Yeah. I just mean that enough places were going to decide that they were, if a bar opened and said we're a no smoking bar and they were super popular, that would have led to
more places following suit.
Yeah, it would have permeated on its own. Now it's the opposite. Now there's a bar, one or two in Chicago, where they just pay the fine. You can basically smoke in these bars, but like I've never been there, but it's as I understand it, you kind of pay for your ashtray, and then they use the money for the ashtrays
as a group thing to
pay for the fine every week, which is kind of funny.
Now, as far as you know, is this bar like a nicer upscale type of bar, or is it like a dive bar?
It's a cop bar.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So who tickets the ticketers?
Can't remember
That's
the name
interesting.
off the top of my head, but
cop bar.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That
is funny.
Yeah, I don't remember what that is. Anyhow, well, we spent this whole time talking about things that kids aren't going to be able to experience, but the reality is that there's a bunch of really cool things that they're going to get to do that we didn't get to do. Like go to Mars. I don't know.
Have real 3D anime waifus.
Did you see my face? I think.
One more thing I have to say, since it's summertime, I feel like going away for summer camp was something that was a bigger thing and more frequented than it is now. There's kids that still go to those summer camps, but it's leagues smaller than what it used to be.
Well, I think that there's a price concern now, and a are you going to send your kid to Molestation World, or like
Yay!
Billy, you're going to Molestation World. Yay! Wait, what?
Yay. I get to take a picture with Pedo Bear. Yay! God. That's another thing kids don't know about. We're Pedo Bear.
Well, I don't think even we were aware of that at 8-9 years old. That was like
Pedo Bear shows up to Epstein Island and gets turned away.
Too old. We were in college because 4chan was started in like 2004, 2008,
4, 5. I heard supposedly.
Okay. So yeah, we were in school.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just, like you said, there are kids who do that still, but overall, I think that parents are much more worried about that kind
resistant
of thing.
To
yeah, like you like
doing that.
Kind of, we didn't get into it, but sleepovers. I remember I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he was like, "I don't know how I feel about sending my kid to some weird parent's house. I don't know what."
I think before you do that, you have to build some sort of a rapport with the other kids' parents. And it could just be like a small.
I mean,
group of kids
not when I was a kid. I know you were doing sleepovers as a kid, but
I wasn't doing anything as a kid.
You just
shows
sat in complete silence in your bedroom,
reading my Redwall books, playing with my GI Joes.
But I mean, like my mom, She didn't know people's parents. She didn't know. I just got shipped off to these kids' houses.
Yeah. And you had all of us sleeping over at your apartment all the time.
Well, yeah, but we were in college.
I know.
I wasn't gonna drug you and molest you, much to your chagrin.